we're back with the Oppo view. We've got the Sydney Swans this week at Optus. So I brought in the number one Sydney Swans fan channel, the True Bloods podcast. We've got Deebz. Deebz, thanks for joining me today, mate.
Drewzy, thanks for having us, brother. It's good to be on the channel. It's hasn't been the best but start for us. We're yet to see 4 points, but another opportunity this week against your mob over in the West.
Yeah, neither of us have got a win so far this season, unfortunately. And it's crazy to think that, last year, like Sydney, the top side, a grand finalist in the competition. And yeah, we had a really good game over at the SCG last year. We didn't make finals last year, but I did feel like we were a good home and away side. And already this feels like a big game. You guys 0-2, got it all to play for. And obviously, we're looking for our first win of the season as well. You popped up on my socials last week, Deeps. I was on the True Footy live stream, and we were talking smack about the Swans, saying that their list doesn't look so stacked anymore. Uh, well, how did you see that come up? And yeah, what did you make of it?
Oh, it's nothing new, Drewzy. It's some people love to take a shot at the Swannies when we're a little bit down and out. Oh, geez, we've lost one game, and all of a sudden our talent's gone. Sometimes you just got to pin the shoulders against the wall and throw a couple back at the perpetrators, mate. But yeah, look, it hasn't been easy for the Swannies so far. Lacking a bit of talent, I'm sure will talent in the side, I should say, due to injury, and I'm sure we'll go through it later. But yeah, a little bit of social media fun, mate. There's nothing better.
100%. Yeah, so I didn't get to catch the Brisbane game, but I obviously watched the Hawthorn game. From what I've seen with Dean Cox coming in so far, the biggest thing for me is that McCartan swing forward. He's been such a solid key defender for you for a long time. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and leaving, Melican and Joel Hamling to fill such a big void of a great player.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting and it's definitely something new, but it's something we need as well. You've got Joel Armati as sort of the key focal point for the Swannies up forward, and then there's sort of been Hayden McLean, obviously injured. He's made his way through the VFL. I think he got some minutes in this week, but Logan McDonald's still struggling with that ankle. There was just no choice but to throw Tommy forward. He spent some time up there at the start of his career. I'm a fan of it, to be honest, and I think this is just one that the media's got in their gun, and they're just going to run with it until they get rid of Tommy in the forward line. But I thought he's presented quite well in the first 2 weeks. Yeah, he hasn't set the world on fire, but especially the start of the Brisbane game, he hit up on the lead so well. He reads the ball really well. We saw that in that match sim against the Gold Coast, kick 4 goals. And I'm a big fan of sticking at it. I think he can really make it, especially with Joel Hamling coming into the side last week. That sort of gets us going pretty solid up back, but there's also some news filtering through that Lewis Melican might have a bit of an injury as well. So look, there may be no choice but to swing him back. But I'm a big fan of him up forward personally. But yeah, there's a few there that want to get him back in that back line. That's for sure.
Yeah, for me, like I have no doubt in his ability to play forward. I just think he's been such a good defender for you over the years that you haven't been able to sort of replace him. That like I know he's such a good like mark of the ball. He's obviously a very high IQ player. But yeah, hopefully Joel Hamling back there settles you a bit. He was a Freo player. This is the Joel Hamling Cup this week at Optus Stadium. But yeah, hopefully he gets 10 kicked on his head by Josh Tracy. Um, there hasn't been, from what I've seen, it hasn't looked like the Sydney of 2024. But what makes you confident that you're going to beat us on Sunday night?
Yeah, look, it's not like I'm going over there expecting to win. We're up against it. You go through some of the players that we've got out. You start with the likes of Errol Goulden, best winger in the comp, and then you get to some real role players like Harry Cunningham. You saw Bailey get the better of us on the weekend. That wouldn't have happened if Harry Cunningham was there. And then you sort of get through your structural players like your McLeans and your Logan McDonald's, and then you don't have the skipper of the club, Callum Mills, out there. And when you start to rattle it off like this, yeah, Swannies aren't flying, but it's going to take something pretty special to go over there up against it. Probably another injury with Malikan as well. It's going to have to be an old style Bloods like performance, but I think the indicators have been pretty good. I think we've played two pretty good sides. We played Hawthorn, and I thought we were okay against Hawthorn. They just got beaten in some key areas and, turning over bad balls coming out of the back line right in front of goals 2 weeks in a row doesn't help you. And I think the key indicators, bar sort of the contested ball, it's been pretty good. And it's just about getting the fundamentals right, not worrying about, just iron out those mistakes a little bit. And I think we're every chance to go all right this week. But it's not like I'm beaming with confidence thinking we're going to, come over to the West and smack you. But we're definitely going to have to grind it out.
Yeah, well, last year you did come over to the West and smacked us up on a Friday night.
Yeah,
That
we
was a
had it.
shocker.
You guys had a bit going on with the loss of
Yeah,
Cam McCarthy over there, and you could tell that that a few of the boys weren't quite there, so it was pretty understandable.
100%. You were talking about the fundamentals there. What fundamentals have the Swans been lacking this season?
It's cleanliness by hand and the fumbling, and it started quite well on the weekend. The first quarter was awesome against the Lions. Kicked the first four, looked on fire, and then it sort of fell apart from there. It was a really hot day in Sydney, quite muggy conditions, very sort of Queensland-esque, and sort of the our ball handling wasn't up to scratch, and we just had some horrible mistakes that converted to goals. There was one with the lizard, fumbled. Bailey gets the ball, turns around, kicks goal. Matty Roberts turns over a shocker, with 2 points down, and that kicks it to Josh Dunkley. He converts, and that's the difference in the game, really. But it's just the fundamental skill errors. Do the basics right, hit your targets, take on the game at the right times, and you hope that the errors you make don't convert to direct goals like they have been at the moment, and then hopefully you can get the result. But they're the main ones, I'd say, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Like I went down to Geelong on the weekend and watched Freo play, and I didn't actually get to see anything. I couldn't really take anything out of the game because we were fumbly. We didn't bring any intensity or pressure. So it was like I didn't actually get to see what we're trying to do. So it was super frustrating. So yeah, hopefully both of our teams can actually show up, be clean with their disposal, and we can see the best of both teams on Sunday Arvo at Optus. Is there anything about Freo that scares you? Anything from that game last year that you think, God, Freo are good in certain areas that you're keeping an eye on for this game?
Yeah, look, contested ball's pretty good. It's probably something that you can hang your hat on. You got, Brayshaw, Sarong, those guys. They go in there and get their pill. Sort of Nat Fyfe used to do a bit of a number on us all the time. I think he played a half in the waffle on the weekend. He might be back this weekend. I'm not too sure, but it's that contest. If you guys win the contested ball, you're every chance of taking this game, and you can probably stretch us up back a little bit. Although it hasn't been the issue, the big forward for us. It's not like anyone's got on top of us. I think Chol kicked one goal, and then the key forwards for Brisbane kicked one apiece as well. It's more the smalls that have got hold of us, but especially last week. But yeah, it's probably that forward line of you with who's a Jai Miss. He's a Jai Miss, and
Yeah,
there's one other big fella up there who's
Josh
going with
Tracy.
Tracy as well. That they can stretch us, obviously, especially if Melican's out. That's where the points of concern will lie.
Well, yeah, the main concern for us is our contest, which we've been able to hang our hat on, was non-existent against Geelong. Or maybe for one quarter, we sort of walked it out of the centre a little bit. But yeah, Jai Amos and Josh Tracy didn't really have any impact on the scoreboard against the Cats. But we do have a fella called Shea Bolton coming in. And if you've had a problem with small forwards, he might have a bit of a day in his debut for the Dockers. So Murphy Reed, he's another one that's just came in on debut. He might be one for you to look out for if the smalls are telling you up at the moment. But yeah, it's hard to read into. Like we're a couple of weeks into footy season, don't really know where either of these two teams are going to sit come the end of the year. How confident are you in the Swans that you're going to be able to back up a good season in 2024 and make a push for the flag again?
Yeah, look, the biggest thing we say on our podcast is half the thing of being successful in a footy season is keeping your best side on the paddock. And we're seeing that now with the Swannies, like just smacked with injuries early. And it just takes a toll. People call it an excuse, but if you don't have your best players out there, you're going to be up against it. And then that's what we're battling with. I'm so confident in our game plan and our list and the talent that we have that our best is the best in the competition, and I think sort of Coxie went with that in the post match presser, and I believe it, but it's a matter of being able to execute it on game day, and if you don't have the cattle out there, it's hard to do. But yeah, super confident we can bounce back if we can get our best players out on the park.
Fair play. So heading into this week, Melican's got a question mark above his head. Justin McInerney out for 3 weeks.
That's the one.
Obviously, no Goulden, obviously, which is a massive out. What does McInerney do for you guys? What are you going to miss from his game?
Oh, Drewzy's a real link-up player. He's sort of we use his leg a lot. He is good decision maker as well, and has that bursting speed. So it's definitely look. He probably hasn't been in the best form so far this year. Yeah, there were some people calling for his head, that's for sure. But just with the cattle we've got, it's a huge loss. And yeah, he's just that real link in the chain and runs and creates. And yeah, he was so important to us last year. He was that you sort of put together a patch of 5 or 6 games last year, and it was just unbelievable. And then we saw when he went down with that ankle injury, I think it was last year, we missed him when we went off the boil at the end of last year. Drewzy was a huge reason for that. He was out for sort of 5 6 weeks and then came back in, but. Yeah, we miss a bit with him, and then the two big boys. I think we might see McLean this week come back in. That'll give us some more structure up forward, and that'll help Brody Grundy in the ruck as well. You guys have got some big rucks, and that's probably another one to touch on. You know, Jackson in the ruck, and is Sean Darcy back? Not too
Nah,
sure.
Sean Darcy's still a couple weeks off. So
Yeah.
one of our biggest issues on the weekend against Geelong was we were probably too tall.
Yep.
So we went with Liam Reedy, who's we plucked him out of the VFL a year or so ago, but he's probably played less than 10 games of AFL footy. Sam De Koning was doing a number on him, so he moved Jackson into the ruck full time for the rest of the game. And we just stuck Liam Reedy in the forward line, and it just didn't work. So I'm not sure if we're going to go with Jackson and maybe bring in another forward that's going to pinch hit, or if we go the two rucks again. I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, we're probably seeing that a little bit. I don't rate Marty as much as the pinch hit in the ruck with Grundy. But so it's so funny. Look for this one. Brody Grundy just starts so slow in games, really struggles just getting into the game, but works himself so well into the contest and really gets going. So I'll be looking for Brody to start quick, and Jackson's a big task as well. He'll be able to sort of take him forward and see if he can go with him. You know, crossing that territory, which is a big strong point of Jackson's game. So that'll be one to watch as well.
Are you confident in Grundy to be able to go 4 quarters with Jackson? Do you think he's got the endurance? That's probably the criticism of Jackson so far in his career, is that in bursts he can really turn a game on its head, but that's probably the strong side of Darcy when he's out on the park, and guys like Grundy and Gorn is that they can wear down on you.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, you know Jackson's game better than I do. So yeah, it's sort of they're polar opposites. Grundy's probably lost that burst out of his game. He sort of grinds away and gets out on top. So that's how you can expect Brody to go. And sort of coming off a slight knee knock in the preseason as well. Missed our game against the Gold Coast, the hit out we had in the pre-season. So he's probably coming from a little bit back, but hopefully he's working his way into the game and can get on top of Jackson for our sake.
Beautiful. I think we've covered most of it there, Deebs. I just want a prediction for you. Give me one with your heart and one with your head.
Well, look, I'm one of those dickheads that always, tips the Swans every week. So look, head says Swannies always, and look, I honestly, the head thinks it's gonna be tough, but I always think we can win. Like if we I think our main key indicators, bar the contested ball, is really good. Our ball movement looks good, and another game under Coxie, I think it can start to come together. And look, Freo probably, in my opinion, not as strong as the Lions or the Hawks either. So I think we can get it done by 3 goals over there on Sunday afternoon. We like to call it the Grenache hour. So it's, have a nice red wine on the couch in front of the fire when it's in the middle of winter. So we'll be, hopefully cheers in the glasses. But what about yourself, mate? How do you see it playing out?
Oh, with that performance we put out last week, it could go exactly how you said, and you'll have your red wine and you'll be happy days. But we can't pull that shit out again. That was one of the worst performances we've ever had on the JL. And if that's a sign for our season, it's not going to be a fun 2025 at all. But having said that, I'm also a passionate dickhead. I want to back the Dockers in to get it done. I feel like, yeah, if you do have all these key players out and you're lacking a little bit structurally, I think we might be able to take advantage of that. Um, Unfortunately for you, in my preseason predictions, I did have the Swans sliding this year. Um, and it's not nice to say because you're a good bloke and I've enjoyed having a chat with you. But like the I don't know how much the grand final loss is going to weigh on you this year, but history has showed us that sides that do lose grand finals do start the season slow. And I like to think in my mind, this is how I'm sort of making this point, is that the Swans go 0-3 and the Dockers get their first home win of the season. Sorry to break it to you. But the
Yeah.
best thing is it's footy and we get to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, that's it, mate. That's it. And look, everyone always, counts off the Swannies. Like even after 2022, we're going to be no good, and then 2 years later, we'll back playing in a grand final. But you got to face a bit of adversity to get that carrot at the end, mate. It's should be a good game though. Looking forward to it.
100%. Yeah, last year, two great teams. So it should be a great game. And yeah, Deebs, thanks for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Um, Check you guys out on True Bloods podcast. Is that correct on
Yeah,
Instagram? True
we're
Bloods.
across all your socials, mate. So on your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok, your X, or whatever they call it, we try to operate on all your social medias. So yeah, True Bloods podcast, and now on your YouTube as well. So if you will,
Beautiful.
the back end of our podcast will be a bit of a preview. So for any of your listeners, you can tune into that and see how we think it'll unfold.
100%. The best way to consume the game is through the eyes of the fans that know their club best. So make sure you go and show the True Bloods podcast some love. Thanks for joining me, Deebs, and all the best for Sunday.
On your Drewzy, good luck, mate.